Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. You want to know what I never thought would become such a crutch on my life? It is milk foam. Okay, good morning. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I have my morning latte here. It has been so good. I've been holding on to it for probably the last 10 minutes. So my milk foam has kind of evaporated, or the bubbles have popped. But when I first made it, there was way more milk foam than actual espresso. And then slowly, the more I drink it, the more the foam goes down into my latte. But if you're watching on YouTube, you saw that I just took a sip, okay? It is amazing. It is my favorite thing in the world. And honestly, I think this is a fine problem to have. I've been working on my morning routine, which is difficult, especially because of the spring forward and losing an hour of sleep. I've been really trying to get back on schedule, get back to a consistent routine. And something that helps me is just waking up and making my cup of coffee. And I also have been incorporating vitamins. So I take my little Ollie vitamins while I'm making my coffee. I'm tamping down my little shot. I'm chewing on the first gummy, putting the shot in the espresso maker, and I have the next gummy. It is just, it's iconic. It is my favorite thing. And I can't wait to look back on these, days that I've stacked upon one another and just feel like my morning routine has been strengthened. So yeah. Today's coffee is grounds from the roastery. I cannot remember if this is Sardine 40 or the Tuscany blend. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Honestly, it's so good. And you can tell I've been sipping on it because, we are going a million miles a minute, and that is perfectly fine. So it's, it was a great weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was a bit busy, but I did get some time to just relax and hang out and not worry about too much, which is nice. I always look forward to the weekends of just being a reset, rejuvenation. And this weekend I got to clean the house. I've transitioned over my clothes, and I'm just feeling really, really good about the state of our home. It's clean, it's good. If company were to stop by, I'm not gonna be embarrassed, right? It's looking good. I'm feeling good, feeling happy, feeling rejuvenated for the upcoming week. Maybe you're not, okay? That's fine. Sorry to be hitting you with such a high energy. If you're maybe stumbling to the kitchen, pouring yourself a cup of ambition and getting ready for work, wherever you are, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. Your support is so, so appreciated. If you haven't already, please rate and review the podcast. It helps way more than you would ever know. Now that we have the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into the peak and the pit of my last week. So the peak, sunny days, baby. It has been so bright, so nice. The temperature is still around 50 degrees, right? But the UV has been at 5. And with my, winter skin, she hasn't seen a lot of sunlight. And I cannot have a max 10 before, my skin catches up. So this 4 and 5 UV has been peak. It's been amazing. It's been so good. Around 1 o'clock, after lunch, I take my computer outside. I have a little blanket laid out, and I've just been basking in the sun. Now the temperature is still not too warm. It's still 50 degrees. So I'm not sweating profusely, but I'm getting some vitamins, okay? The sunlight is just pouring into me, and it's feeling so good outside. It has been a little cloudy still. So even though the UV is at 5, it's not 3 or 2 or 0. The clouds are out, so that means I can see my computer screen properly. I can still work. I'm still being like really productive, which makes me feel so good. And the UV, it's just been top notch, amazing. I did put on a swimsuit, which, you know, it's not swimsuit season yet, and it's definitely way too chilly out to go swimming. But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm laying out here, I might as well try to get my summer tan going, right? And so I have my swimsuit on, and it's been about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks of just like laying out in the sun every so often. It's not every day because some of the days are literally so cold. I cannot bring myself to lay out. But I did notice like the tiniest of little color change in my body. And I was like, yes, like this UV of 5 is just prepping my skin, because I hate it when it does get warm outside and I go to be in my garden or plant my flowers or go for a walk and I immediately get sunburnt, which I don't want sunburnt, okay? I want to gradually build up my skin's tolerance to the sun so that there's not a burn. And it also doesn't give me like a funky burn line, because if you're going for a walk, usually like you're in a t-shirt or you're in a razorback tank top, and it takes so long to try and straighten those tan lines out. So I just want to build up on it, and this is like the first spring that I'm able to do this. So ever so slowly but surely, we are, you know, laying out in the sun, and it's been so good personally. So I'm like typing on my computer and I'm getting a lot of work done. While I'm working, I am listening to an audiobook, and I just finished Hannah Brown's God Bless This Mess, which so good, honestly. Got to hear and learn so much about Hannah Brown's like background and her family history, and there was a lot of surprising stories in there that I just, you know, you can't ever judge a book by its cover. And plus a little TV segment, you know, The Bachelorette is not for that long. I guess Hannah Brown was also on The Bachelor, so Bachelor and Bachelorette, but that's still like not a lot of time, and the focus of the show is like finding love. So you get to know some like parts of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but you don't get to know everything. And so I just thought it was so introspective of everything, who she is, how she was made, you know, all of her core life events that happened to make Hannah Brown Hannah Brown. And so I've been listening to that, just finished it up, was so pleasantly surprised, and just like love to hear the background of a person's life. Personally, I just really appreciate reality TV and appreciate you know, podcasts and bibliographies and audiobooks and just memoirs, because it gives you introspection, oh my gosh, introspective on a person's life. And I just love learning about people and their story and what they have to say. So it's been really, really fun. The audiobook I just started after Hannah Brown is Leslie fucking Jones, and this is a Black comedian. She's so good. She's also been in a couple films. I think for me, like the most prominent one that I remember is Ghostbusters, where you know, it was the girls' version where there was 4 main characters who are women. I just love Leslie Brown, and I think that her Netflix specials are hilarious as well. So that has been really fun. I'm about like 2.5 hours into her audiobook, and holy smokes, I have had just like an array of emotions. Like listening, I love to listen, one, because it's also like their voice, and you just get like such a better like understanding on what they meant when they wrote their book. And so listening to her, I am cracking up, like laughing so hard. And then there's some really, really hard parts that happened to her in her life, and I am bawling. Like last night I was driving home and I was absolutely sobbing. I was like, just when you put yourself in someone else's shoes, and a memoir like this is such an intimate thing, right? Like these are people's real lives, things that they experience, things that happen to them, and the like empathy empathetic part of me is just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you had to go through that. And it's just the bravery to put your family stories, your childhood out like that is unmatched. It's remarkable, and I've been loving that book. There's about 14 hours in this audiobook, so I'm definitely going to be listening every single chance I get. And with it being so warm outside and being able to like sit outside, it is good to catch up on the audiobooks. If you have any that you absolutely loved and are recommending, I would love to hear them. Also, why did I just find out that Spotify allows you to listen to audiobooks if you have Spotify Premium? So I had to purchase, I've, been a free Spotify listener for, multiple years. Last time I had Spotify Premium was when I got married. Like, we made our own playlist, we were on a budget, and I like compiled all the songs that we were gonna listen to, like at the rehearsal. Or not the rehearsal, oh my gosh, what's it called? Reception. The reception, oh my gosh. And so I haven't had it since then. And when I purchased it for another reason, I'm working on my Power One sequence for yoga teacher training. So I need to like compile a list of music, and you have to be able to like play that on demand, right? No shuffle, no ads. gotta have premium, right? So I did that, and then it was like, oh, here's some audiobooks that you might be interested in, and they come free. And 2 of them I had purchased with my Audible subscription. That's $15 a month. And then Spotify giving me audiobooks, and it's only $10 a month, and I get to like shuffle my music for free. Are you kidding me? I am just bewildered. I could not believe it. I was like, this is perfect. This is amazing. I've been wanting to listen to Julia Spock's Down the Drain. I think that's what it's called, Down the Drain. And then there's a couple like lighthearted reads, like The Happy Place. I personally didn't use my Audible to listen to like more of those like novels. It was mostly the memoirs because I love hearing the author, talk about their books. So that's been something fun that I found and could not believe, and was like, oh my gosh, like, have I been living under a literal rock? It's insane. So that's my peak of the week. Sunny days and a UV of 5. It's just amazing, okay? I love sitting out in the sun. I love to pretend it's summertime, even though it's very, very spring. At least we just had our, what's it called? First day of spring, or not winter solstice, spring solstice, summer solstice. I think I'm confusing a couple different holidays or like days in the year, but I'm pretty sure first day of spring was last week. So we're moving forward. We're moving towards warmer weather. I do feel bad. Last week, my family in Iowa got snow. So at least I didn't have snow, but the weather did, shake up, switch up. It's a little chilly out, okay? I think the past 2 days, I was not able to lay out in the sun, and that's a little sad. So the pit of the week. I've been driving quite a bit, and I've been driving late at night, which is unfortunate, but it's a great time to listen to these audiobooks, right? Like, I'm playing it, I'm vibing, I'm just like trying to get the drive done as quick as possible, right? Like, let's go, let's get to it. And while I was driving home one night last week, this literally spooked me out. I'm driving, and I see this like vehicle pass me, and it definitely has license plates like it is a police officer. But the shape of the vehicle was not like a cop car. And when I'm driving at night, I don't know why, but I always think my lights aren't on. Like, I know they're on, but sometimes like I've had it where my lights weren't on and I didn't notice it. Like, the sun is going down, there's a ton of lights from like restaurants and buildings and things, and so like I don't notice it as much. But as I'm like driving and I see this police officer, I'm like, oh, are my lights on? Oh, like, am I speeding? No, I never speed. And I'm thinking all of these things, then I realized that this is not a police car. It is, but it isn't. It drives past, and on the back, and here's another thing. People putting like, they get their little Cricut and they get vinyl and they like put things on their back glass, right? I have seen so many where it's like the family tree, you know? And it's like a mom and a dad and kids. Or it's like, if you can read this, you're riding my ass, like back up. Or there's just like a multitude of Cricut stickers that you can put on your back glass. You also have bumper stickers, right? And so that's what it is. Like, it looks like it's just like vinyl on the back. And then I realized what it says, because I have astigmatism, okay? And when I'm driving in the dark, I have to focus. I do have contacts that help with like the astigmatism, but it's a little stressful. If you don't know what that is, look it up, say astigmatism in the dark, and the results will shock you, okay? So that's basically me, except for I do have corrective lenses, and that's very nice. But as it's like going past me, I'm like looking at it, it says, stay back, prisoner transport. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how stressful is that? Like, of course, the prisoners have to be transported, right? Like, they have to get to where they're going. But it was like late at night, I'm driving home. I've had such a tired day, and like, this is great time for anxious thoughts, right? And so as I'm just like driving and I see this, I started to spiral. And a couple summers ago, I watched Orange is the New Black. And so I can't help but think, oh my gosh, like one of the actors from like Orange is the New Black is in this car, and I was just like thinking about all the things that they did in the movie. Of course, it's a movie, but I was like, how easy could it be for the prisoner to be driving that and follow me home? And just like, I was spiraling, and luckily like it wasn't following me, they passed me and like went on, right? But I was like, ooh, I don't like that. Like, I don't know if it was better that it said prisoner transport, stay back, like as a warning, like, oh, don't get too close, like, oh, you know, like precious cargo. Or if it would have been better if there's no sticker and I wouldn't have known, and if there was like someone who was escaping prison or whatever to be driving the car, like, would I want to be notified, or would I just want to like, you know, drive, see him in the passenger seat and just roll on, right? Like, was it better that I was notified or not? Like, I don't know, but I was creeped out. And the second time, that was creepy. 2 summers ago, I was like driving again. It wasn't late, it was early. It was early morning. It's like 4:30. I'm driving, it's a little bit dark. Maybe it was early. It was early and it was still dark, okay? And so I'm waiting for the sun to come out. And as I like am driving, I see this like white van pull up or drive like past me. And tell me why, there was a spooky ass clown on it, okay? And it was so scary. I was like, and it was like one of those old ice cream trucks, and it had this like clown that was not supposed to be scary, not supposed to be spooky, and I'm not afraid of clowns, but I'm like looking over, like I don't know. Driving is so it's unnecessary, but I absolutely despise it and try to avoid it at all costs. That's why I like listening to Spotify or podcasts or something to take my mind off it, because I am always just like aware of my surroundings. I don't know if this is because I'm a woman or what, but always when I'm driving, I am like looking around and I'm trying to make sure that I'm completely safe and that I'm secure and I am, you know, I have it together. So that was my peak and my pit of last week. I'm hoping this week will be even better with warmer weather coming. I definitely need to like get our patio whipped into shape, because it's not looking like it's whipped into shape. It's looking a bit rough. So I have plans to power wash the back patio and purchase like a little rug to be put outside so that I don't have to lay on the concrete, and looking at patio furniture and all the things. Super fun, very exciting. But last week was a real winner, and this week we're moving forward. I will say I have started journaling, and I don't want it to be like an everyday journal. I want it to be like when I not have the time, because I've been trying to make the time, but I want some space in between my journal because I want it to be like, oh, like this is what I was thinking about at this time. And like, I think if I don't aim for perfectionism, if I don't aim for every day or every Wednesday or something, maybe every Wednesday would be good, but I just want to lightly check in with my journal, and I've been doing a great job with that. Like, just, hey, it's been a while, I'm gonna pull it open, I'm gonna take a look at it, and that has been helping so much for just like taking the pressure off of my journal, because morning routine. But yeah, like journaling just a little bit about my days is also helping me remember like week to week, because I don't know about you, but sometimes it can feel like my days are just kind of running together. And for me to think, oh, like, should I write in my journal today? What would I write about? Has been really good just for like my memory and thinking about what I did yesterday and what I did the, week before. Think about it. Like, can you remember what you did last Wednesday? Like, really? What about the Wednesday before? What about last Friday? Like just thinking about the memories and having a journal to think, oh, like, what can I write about, or what comes to mind, or is today a good day to journal, and the prompts. I'm just trying to make sure that my brain is healthy, to be honest. So I also started a new puzzle. It's called Easter Parade. It is so cute. Little Easter bunnies in it, and it's actually by the same artist as my previous puzzle that I did. So that's been really fun to do in the morning as well. I have been loving life. I've been loving every single aspect. Maybe it's because the sun's out. Maybe because it's the sun is out, the sun is shining, and that always makes me feel so much better about everything. But it's still like a busy season. I've been loving it and trying to balance it properly, but it's still been pretty busy with things like going on in general. And last week? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I had our Golden Gal Network event for the month of March. Oh my gosh, because I've been planning for April and May. I forgot what month it was, but I just had the Golden Gal Network event a couple Saturdays ago, and that's something that also like adds into my day-to-day and planning and being busy. While I love it, right? Like, I love it. It's been hard to like balance that on top of like yoga teacher training, and I know it's just like a busy season right now. It's not going to last forever, and I know that it's going to clear up very soon, hopefully, praying. But the Golden Gal Network was so fun, and I was a bit nervous about it because I felt like I was doing too much. I felt like I had piled too much on my plate this Saturday that I had the event, and I was thinking, okay, I need to get so many yoga classes in for my certification. So I like scheduled them that morning. I needed to like have my decorations. I needed to find like a table from storage so that I could just like set up the drinks and set up the cards, because we've been doing like popcorn questions at supper, and I have all the girls like write down a question that they want to ask the group, and then we pass it around. Like, it is so much fun, but it takes a little bit of planning. So in the morning I had, gone to a yoga class, and it was like an odd time of day. It was 10 o'clock. So I had to get up. I was trying to clean the house, kind of get things ready, drive to my yoga class, take the yoga class, and then drive back home, and then again drive to Shawnee Mission. So it was like this ping pong effect, and you would think that I would be good at like packing to go like place to place, because growing up, like I would like visit my dad in a different state, and then I would come back home to my mom's, and I would have to like pack my suitcase. And there were so many times where I left my retainer at the other parent's house, or I remember leaving a basketball jersey at my dad's house, and I had to have my stepmom like send it to my mom's house, so then I was able to play that Friday, and she had to like send it express mail, and it was like nerve-wracking if it was gonna get there in time. So there's been several instances where I've like left something at the other parent's house and not had it. And so you would think that I'd be better at it, but I try so hard to like have a list, like when I'm packing or traveling somewhere, have a list. What do I need? What is gonna go in the vehicle? What am I gonna take? And usually I try to like fit too much in, and I'm trying to pile on more tasks because, and maybe, I don't know. I really don't know why I do this, but I'll try to like switch laundry and then like start the dishwasher because those things like take the longest. And then I'll be like, oh, what else can I do while I'm waiting for this other thing or prepping for this? And there's never enough hours in the day. And I try so hard to just like stay organized and keep on schedule. And this Saturday, I just felt like everything was like falling through my fingers. I was like, oh, I have to do this and I need to do this and I can't forget about this. And I was stressed the heck out, okay? And I was just thinking, I need to get through this weekend. I like have so many things to do and I just need to survive. I just need to put one foot in front of the other. I'm not gonna like stress too much about it all. But I made a list. It was a short list, less than you think it would be. I was like, okay, I am gonna get up and I'm going to make my coffee. And I had a late night the night before. I had like a little, what was I doing? I can't even remember, but I know, I actually, we went to the movies, and so we got home late and I had to be up early, and yoga class. So after my yoga class, I was like, all right, I have an hour to get dressed and pack up my vehicle, and then I need to head to the town closest to me in the opposite direction of where the event was taking place. I need to run to the grocery store. I need to pick up like a seltzer, and I also need to pick up like a new tablecloth. So I went to the back to like grab my big table, and I forgot that this bigger table will not fit in my pickup. And because it's like a regular or a short bed, it's not a long bed. And when I originally was transporting the tables, I had like a long bed on the vehicle that I was driving. And so I was like, oh no, like I forgot about this. So I added on my list, I'm gonna need a table and I'm gonna need chairs to go at the table. And I need to print out a bingo card because I had asked the girls like the day before, please send like some interesting facts about yourself, so then I could type them in a bingo card, designed a bingo card so that it would be like an icebreaker for everyone to get to know each other before the big event. So I'm also trying to finish that up, and I had thought of this last minute, so I emailed the girls only a day in advance. So some of them were like slower to get their answers to me. Understandable. Okay, listen, like I asked them last minute, and I was needing to run to the library to print that off because I don't have a printer at my home. And so I was like, okay, and I have to add that to my list. And then I need to drive to Shawnee Mission where the event is taking place and set up. I need to be there 30 minutes before I told anybody else to be there, so I can kind of like get myself together, right? So I have an hour to get dressed. I have an hour to shower, get dressed before I head to town. And tell me why nothing looked good. This was before I transitioned over my closet, and there was a dress that I was like planning on wearing. It just like did not feel good. Like, you know, when you're in the store and you purchase it and it's totally great, but then you get it on and you think, oh, like, is this the same dress? Or you don't feel good in general, or maybe it's not laying how you would like today because you're bloated or you're not feeling well. I don't know what it was, but I tried on literally like 10 different outfits trying to find something and failing. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that Golden Hour Drip has a weekly newsletter that comes out. This has bonus content, weekly updates, and future event information. If you haven't already, go down to the show notes, click the link, and join today. Now, back to the show. I just literally despise that feeling of your closet. Nothing looks good. Everything is just like not what you're looking for because it's still springtime weather. It's a little chilly outside and not like super sundress season, but I also don't want to wear like a sweater or like the dark jeans and just like dark boots. Like I wanted something springy. I wanted something nice and just like fun and happy. So I ended up doing light wash jeans and this lime green, maybe it's like this bright chartreuse kind of shirt. And I was like, okay, like I've got to get it together. I settled on that. I was like, this will be fine. I at least feel comfortable in it. I packed up my stuff and I was like, there's so many pieces still missing, like things that I need to make this event good, but at least like we're on our way and we're still on time. We're still on schedule. So I went to the library first. I was like, I have 5 minutes to print this out. Like that's all the time I'm going to take. Super easy. Got my copies and I headed off to the grocery store, picked up, a couple of the drinks and the like waters that I needed, some ice, and I found a table, I found some chairs, I found like a pretty cute tablecloth, and I'm feeling good about myself. But there's like this feeling in the back of my head that I don't feel confident in what I'm wearing still. And maybe it's because I was literally rushing around trying to like pack things and walking fast in the grocery store, and I am kind of starting to sweat. And I just thought to myself, let's see what they have in the clothing section. Let's just see if there's something that I can swap my top out for. And like looking in the section, and I ended up finding this blue sweater, right? I know I said that I didn't want a sweater, but what I mean by that is like I have a bunch of like brown sweaters or like winter sweaters that are definitely winter themed, and I've like posted a lot in them, right? So I'm like, okay, like let's try this sweater. It was $10, it was on sale. I didn't try it on, I threw it in the cart, and then I also grabbed like just like a black t-shirt just in case. I absolutely hated the blue sweater and I hated the like green top. Like I had a black t-shirt to fall back on. So I packed everything up and I was driving to the event. I was like, okay, perfect. Like I have everything together. I changed my shirt while I was driving. I was like, oh, this sweater actually feels fine. And then you know me. Since I had achieved, and I was actually 15 minutes early to the 30-minute early that I wanted to be, I was like, all right, like we can stop for coffee. So I went to Dutch Bros. I don't know if I love Dutch Bros, but it was near the event and I was like, this will be perfect. So I got a hot latte with 2 pumps of coconut. I think it's pretty fun, it's pretty good. And while the gal was taking my order, she was so cute, definitely Gen Z, definitely like child, okay, still in high school. And she was like, I really love your sweater. And I was like, thank you. Like, was she trying to get a tip? Maybe. But she goes, I love your sweater. I said, thank you. I was feeling uncomfortable with what I was wearing. I have an event and I picked it up at Walmart for $10. She goes, really? I would have thought that it was like better quality than that. And I was like, yeah, me too, girl, me too. So that was really sweet. And so I was feeling confident, I was feeling good, and I was like, maybe this event is not going to be like a total shit fest, because that's how I felt. I was like, I don't feel centered, I don't feel good. And so with the 15 minutes of extra time, I ate my little cranberry orange muffin top. I drank my coffee and I took some deep centering breaths. I was just like, right, like it was really like a psycho, but I was taking some deep breaths. I was trying to center myself, and I thought, hey, like these girls do not know how stressed I am. They don't know that I have a bunch of things to do tomorrow. They don't know that I've had like a busy, crazy morning. My presence is going to set the tone for this event. So if I am all over the place, if I am just like absolutely heinous, then that's going to show. But what I need to do is I need to be in the moment, I need to be present, and I need to just fully focus on the connection aspect. Because that's why we have the Golden Gal Network. It's for connection, for community. It doesn't matter if things aren't perfect. It doesn't matter how I feel in my shirt. It only feels about the environment that I'm fostering. So I was like, okay, with that intention, like it is not about me. It is about the women who bought a ticket, who want to come, who want to have friends. And I was like, it's all gonna come together. It will be fine. And I walked in there and I set up my table, and a huge shout out to the Collab Boutique and Shawnee Mission. Dawson was so sweet, so kind, so considerate, was an awesome host. And it was her boutique. Check it out, so sweet. And I got my table set up, and I was waiting for the first girls to come. And I've definitely changed like the format. It's like, I try to do like 30 minutes before the event is check-in. So that means like we don't have a hard start time, because people would be late anyways. And then I'd stress out about like, oh, are they actually like not gonna come? Do they not want to be at this event? But having that like lapse in start time allows all the members to think, hey, like it's okay if I'm running a little bit late. Two, it lets me tell the vendors that, hey, like it's check-in is 30 minutes, so like it's a little bit of a gap, and they'll be coming in slowly, right? So the girls are there, and we have these bingo cards, right? This was such a good idea, and honestly, I am glad that I tried to do too much. I'm glad that I was stressed and I was running around, because this actually really made the event. And so that's where it does pay off to go the extra mile, to try a little bit harder, to, try and make it happen. Like I will always try and make it happen. I will always do my best to execute and adapt. And I think that's one of my best qualities, to be able to make lemonade out of lemons. Like I will constantly try to make everything good and ultimately like save my ass. Like I am always just like, okay, how can I still like show up, be professional in all aspects of my life, like not just the Golden Gal Network, but like in the workspace, or if I'm trying something new. Like I always try to just adapt, be ready. And I think honestly, like that's one of the best qualities that a person can have. Maybe it's because I do have it and I pride myself on that. But I was like, okay, these bingo cards, I had everyone submit a interesting fact about themselves, and then where they would like to go and travel. And I put them as different spots. And then for the individuals who it was last minute, they didn't get me their answer in time, I put a couple random ones on there. So it's like, find someone who prefers Love is Blind in comparison to The Bachelor, or find someone who just went to the movies recently, or find someone who prefers staying in than going out, right? Like just a couple random ones. So if someone didn't submit one, they could still participate and still feel like, hey, like I am not an outsider, like I don't feel excluded. They can still like participate. And that was such a hit. And I was like, here I'm stressed out for no reason. Like, yes, I had to be quick on my feet. I had to get it printed out. I needed to make sure that all of my elements were aligned, and I pulled it through. And trusting in yourself and just having confidence in yourself that it will work out. I think that the centering breaths that I did before the event really just helped me like put it in perspective of, I am in control of my actions. I'm in control of where I'm going, where I'm at. And it was so just powerful to be able to take a pause, take a moment, and feel so good that I was going to be able to show up in the best version of myself. I wasn't going to allow my hectic morning or hectic afternoon to, take away from like the main event, take away from the main purpose of me being there. And I think going back to your why, or going back to the reason that you're stressing out, or the reason that you're putting so much effort into this thing, is so just grounding. I was like, oh gosh, like I have this, I can do this. I will succeed in this. It's not going to be a big deal. We're going to be able to move forward and be successful in this. And it was a great event. Now, I will say, even though I knew everybody's answers, I also want to connect with these women. I want to be a friend and find friends as well. So I put where I want to travel, and then I put an interesting fact about myself. And my interesting fact was it was my favorite pastime is watching reality TV and drinking coffee. And so like that was mine. Nobody knew it was mine. And how we played the bingo was you had to find a person, right? Someone you don't know. Most of these women don't know each other, or at least don't know each other to like a deeper like sense. So the interesting facts, you would have to ask the person like, oh, do you have a dog that you adopted? Or like whatever was on the bingo card, to then look at it and be like, oh, like ask them the question. They couldn't tell you which one was theirs. You had to guess it. Whether that was like reading off every single one, or, like a lucky guess and you got it on the first try. But once you got one of their answers, you had to go find another person. You couldn't get both of their answers at once. You had to like do one and then do the other at another time. So they're asking questions, and I think it's so funny when we have a bingo card like this and you're asking a person a question, we almost like put people in boxes or we stereotype people like, this person would definitely prefer staying in than going out. Or yes, this person absolutely was a drama major in college, right? Like we put these little like indentations of, oh, was this you? And it's funny, like sometimes you're right. And one of my good friends, Lauren, I was like, okay, like let's play it. Lauren and I have been friends for the last couple months. I met her at one of my network events, and she was like, okay, we're going through it. And I jokingly said, I was like, you used to work in politics. And she's like, yes, of course, like you know mine, like I gave it to you. You were the one to make the bingo card. I was like, you are so right. And I was like, see if you can guess mine. And so she looked at the paper and she's reading through it, and she was like, She said one, she mentioned one. I was like, no, that's not me, but it could have been me. Like it definitely did sound like me. I was like, no, that's not the one I submitted. And then she immediately, like after that, reads off mine. I said, yes, how did you know? And she's like, because literally every single time we talk, you bring up a show that I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, oh my gosh, like Lauren is definitely not into reality TV like I am. She's a SUV, or is that what it's called? An SUV kind of girl? Like a police show. I don't know. SVU. I think it's SVU. I don't know. SVU. It's definitely not SUV. Anyways, she's like literally like, I never know what you're talking about. And then like later that evening or like the next day, I'll see you on social media. I'm like, oh, that's what Logan was talking about. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, also you drink coffee all the time. Like you're always, and I was like, you're right. As I like held my Dutch Bros, like just a coffee fiend. And then the country I want to go to, or the place I want to travel, is Canada. That was also really, really fun to see like where people wanted to travel at. There was 2 for New Zealand, and I was like, hey, you're kidding, like 2 New Zealands, like that's crazy. I forgot about that like area, like I don't know. Anyways, story for me is just like, okay, I was stressed out for no reason. Like afterwards we had like a great dinner, we did the popcorn questions, like it was just a great environment to be hanging out. And I couldn't believe, like as I was driving home, I was like, you were stressed out about this event, and tomorrow's like gonna be a big stressful day too, but you were so stressed out about this event and now it's over, now it's complete, and you had a blast. Like, I truly, like, I'm so glad that I did those centering breaths and I was able to actually enjoy it, because there's a lot of events from my high school, contests that I did, or events that I was in, and I was so focused on winning or the public's perception of me of like, oh, like she did really good or she performed really good, that I wasn't present. I didn't enjoy the moment. I didn't have fun while doing it. And that's like some of my, I don't really regret anything, but like if I had to regret something and do something over, it would be to fully be in the moment and not worry so much about like the actual outcome of whatever I was doing. And I think back to, you know, there were so many things I did as a kid, and I was just so focused on like winning, or so focused on like making sure that I was number one, that I didn't necessarily like take the opportunity to be present and to have fun. Like, that seems so bizarre, but like to actually just enjoy it and think, oh, like I'm doing this because I want to do it, not because I think I have to do it, or because it's gonna look good on my resume, or because it's gonna look good for whatever achievement or word that I'm working on, but just to be like, hey, like I did this for fun. I did this because I thought it would be, you know, a great experience. And that kind of makes me sad that although I did and I have enjoyed everything that I've done, to take a step back and be like, oh, I could have enjoyed this more. And I could have like soaked it in more. And I did that on Saturday, even though I was stressed. It was just like taking that little pause, that little moment to myself, and re-grounding myself into, hey, like, it's gonna be a busy day. You might not be perfect. Things might not go as planned, but we are going to focus on the intention, which is connection, and like having these girls meet each other. And that reframe just was a total game changer for me. Like I just absolutely appreciated every single aspect in that moment, right? I also have to remember that everything that I'm like putting on my plate is something I chose to do. So coming from a place of, hey, like I'm busy because I want to be busy, and this stress is literally just made up, like it's made up stress. Like I want to do these things, I want to enjoy these things, and just like being fully present is going to help counterbalance like the stress of making sure everything's perfect, or making sure that I'm being perceived in a certain way. So just, that's been really, really freeing. And it was a great event, and I appreciate everyone who came to the Golden Gal Network in March, and look out for the April and May events because they are coming so soon, and I'm so excited. Woo, so good. You can follow the Golden Gal Network at Golden Gal Network on Instagram, and sign up for a newsletter if you want any, you know, updates. So that was done. Now, Saturday, when I was coming home, I was like, oh gosh, like that was such a stressful day. That was the hardest thing that I had to do though. Like I just needed to host this event. I wanted it to be good for everybody. And then the next day I had scheduled 5 yoga classes. That's a lot of yoga classes, but I needed to catch up with the last week of just being so hard with the spring forward situation. I've been really busy during the week, and the certain disciplines I needed, I wasn't able to like fit in during the time that I had. So I was like, we have to get in a bunch this Sunday. We're just gonna knock them out. The first one starting at like, I think class started at 7:15, and it was about like 50 minutes away from me. So I made sure to get there early, and I needed to observe at least 2 out of the 5. So at least I wasn't actually like doing the yoga sequence. I could just watch, which I did need so many observations. So got the first observation out of the way. The second class I took, I'm like, okay, first one's out of the way. Second one, here we go. Look, I actually have to take it. So power 2. So it's a little bit harder. Tell me why I burst into tears. I don't know if it was just because of everything going on and feeling like this emotional overwhelm. We're sweating. It is a hard class. It is, I want to say it's a heart opener. So maybe that's why I was crying. But we get to the like end of class where we're just like Shavasana, we're laying on our mats. I just like had this extreme like gratitude come through my body, and I was like, I am so thankful that for my life. I'm so thankful that I have a husband who supports me in the things that I'm doing. And I'm so happy that everything's like gonna come together. Tears are literally streaming down my eyes, right? Shavasana is just like I'm laying flat on my back, like eyes are closed, everyone's eyes are closed, nobody can see me. Also, I'm super, super sweaty anyways, so they couldn't tell it was tears, but I knew they were tears. And for a moment, I was a little embarrassed. I was like, oh gosh, like crying at the gym. Essentially, that's what it was, right? Like crying at the gym, which I've cried at the gym before. That was in 2020. I was on the Stairmaster and I was so stressed. And just like grateful for the last time I cried in the gym, right? To crying now in a yoga studio, and I was like, holy smokes, how much time has passed, how much amazing growth have I had. And I was like, okay, like it's gonna be good. I think tears are really good just for like resetting your body. It literally helps your nervous system like reset as well. So I'm like crying on my mat. I'm like, okay, you know, grab my sweat rag after, just like play it off. I'm just like just hot and sweaty. So I get that done. I'm like, okay, I have a 30-minute drive to the next studio to take another class. Then I have to come home. My mother-in-law came over for lunch. I almost said supper. It was so good seeing her. But then I had to head back to Lee Summit for 2 more classes. And I was like, okay, like I just have one more observation, then I get to have lunch, and then I have some downtime. And guess what, guys? I'm so happy to announce I took a weekend nap. And honestly, like I love a weekend nap. It just makes me feel so good. And because I was so tired, like I had woken up super early that morning, I had gotten home late from the Golden Gal Network the night before, and I was just like, gosh, like I'm gonna take out my contacts and I'm just gonna lie on the couch. And it was so, so good. I was like, I felt warm. It's whenever like you are outside all day, like, or it was vacation vibes. Okay, hear me out. When you go to the beach or you go somewhere warm and you're outside all day and you kind of get a little tan, you come in, maybe you eat lunch and then you go back out for the sun, you come back, take a nap before supper and you're all tan and amazing and you just feel well rested and so present and so amazing. That's how I felt, because Friday I had gotten to lay out in the sun. And so it's like, okay, the sun rays, I'm feeling so good. Had a very busy night, busy Saturday, busy Sunday, woke up super early, and my skin was still, you know, a little warm. And to do all that, take a nap before like my main event, my last event of the day, which was a couple more yoga classes, I just felt like so grateful. Honestly, just like really grateful and present, so present for the last 2 classes of my day. The nap was great. I think the cry really helps from that morning of just like centering myself. It's been a crazy week, honestly. Like I am so glad for the past 2 weekends and just to like be centered. Honestly, I think that's like my theme for March. It's just like planting down, like finding some sense of stability. And kind of, not that I was untethered, but grounding down in my routines, trying to reset. It is spring now, and to move forward and prepare. And always like in times of these where I'm just like, oh, like lots of things are coming, like I have a lot to do, I have a lot to focus on. It's usually on the brink of a new season of life, like a new era. And there has been like multiple of these times where I think back and go, oh my gosh, like it was near the brink of a change. And when I think about the routines that I've been doing and thinking about my mornings, it's when I'm like, okay, that is like a section of time where I was like consistent, and it kind of like imprints in my brain of like that period of time. So like I think back to, you know, in the winter, like October, November, December, and like what I was doing and what my morning routine was. And so for me, it's like cemented in that feeling and that moment in time of, okay, like if I think back to that routine, I am in that moment of time. And now, like, I know that this will be another moment of time where I look back on before things change, right? Because it's been so consistent, because things have been so XYZ. You can't always have the same routine like for the rest of your life, right? Like you can try, but just like the seasons of the world, right? Spring, summer, fall, winter, you're gonna have those with your life as well. And so I'm like, okay, like this little pocket in time, I'm gonna be so grateful for, because I know it's preparing me for the next one. And I just feel like April is gonna be wild. April is going to be absolutely wild. And I'm excited for that. I'm preparing for that. And it's a lot. It is a lot, and maybe you're in the same boat. Maybe you're feeling these same things. Acknowledging that, and also thinking, hey, like it's gonna be fun. Like we're gonna have the most fun in the next couple weeks, the next couple months that we've ever had. And that personally has just been helping me not get so stressed, because I'm always trying to do too much. I'm always trying to like make it all work and be adaptable. But some moments where I just like get to ground down and be like, oh, like we're present, like it's gonna be fun, like I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna enjoy this, I'm not gonna stress out about it. That's when I can actually have fun. There are a lot of exciting things that I'm looking forward to. One, finishing my new puzzle. Two, being able to go for a walk, go for a run. Right now it's like I could go out there, but it's just like so like cold. And I try to work on my goals like one step at a time. And right now I've been so diligent in trying to get like the podcast shorts or like clips on YouTube and TikTok. It's like a work in progress. Like I feel like it's just like one brick that I'm stacking upon another brick. So like that's where my focus has been, and I haven't necessarily been getting my steps in. So I'm hoping with the longer days and with it finally being spring, I'm gonna be able to like get my steps in. Maybe I should be editing while I walk on my treadmill. I did that last spring and that was really, really powerful. But it's just like, oh, it's work, right? Like you gotta find the work in the play, and I have not been doing the best job, but it is growth. It is growth, or it's growth. But with the house being clean and feeling so just like reset from this past weekend, I feel like I can go into this upcoming week with better expectations, or a better sense of this is what we actually need to do. This is how we need to move forward. I've been utilizing my Today is the Day calendar, and that has just, I'll go back to it. It's the basics. It's 1, 2, and 3. 3 things to write down on your to-do list and think, okay, I'm gonna have a successful day. When I accomplish these 3 things, it's automatically a good day. Like I don't have to worry about adding anything else to my plate. For today, it was literally wash my sheets and wash my bedding, because honestly, like with this hot cold, I'm kind of getting a little restless in the night, especially with my morning classes. Oh my gosh, I have had like this like little, I don't know what to call it. It's like anxiety, like sleep anxiety, that's what you call it, where I will like book myself an early class. I'm like, okay, like I need to go, it's gonna be like a 30-minute drive. I need to make sure I have my coffee ready. I need to make sure that I have all these things. I can't miss it, because if I miss it, then I get a fee. And so I'll be like, okay, my class, I need to wake up at 4:30. And then I will go to bed, and I will wake up around 1 o'clock, and I'll think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sleep bad because it took me an hour to fall asleep, and now I'm thinking about my class, and I'll end up like canceling the class in the morning. So with that, I've been anxious sleeping a little bit, and my sheets have gotten a little gross. So I've been washing them like more than normal. And that was on my to-do list. Doing a little like a podcast short that I just talked about, making sure I was stacking on my goals and making sure I'm not stressing out and I'm actually enjoying this moment in preparation for the next chapter. And then the third thing is, of course, recording this podcast, and I just completed it. So thank you so very much for listening. If you have a suggestion for the podcast, I would love to hear it. If you have a submission you would like to send off, we are doing Ask the Gals every Friday. If there's someone you want to hear on the podcast, please let me know. Any topic suggestions, all the things. And then, of course, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. All the things. I'm going to try not to stress out for the next, 24 hours, trying to enjoy the present, and I hope you do too. So enjoy it. Enjoy this beautiful Monday. Enjoy all the things, all the good things coming to you, and remember to ground down in the present moment, because it's so sweet, right? It is so sweet when you can actually get it accomplished. So thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!